Sorry about that before, but my brother video called me from the hospital, but he's undergoing some procedures to his affected foot, so didn't mean for anyone to hear about that part, but it's nothing serious. He's gonna be okay. But I did hear a tank earlier while I was recycling, and I'm right. It is right there. And it's a Phoenix class. Guess who's gonna go play tag the tank right now? That would be me. Do you think it would be wise to sneak upon him and stab him in the back? Oh, right. This is machine. Fair game. Almost didn't hit him right there. Direct hit. See, technically, I'm betting against that hunter that I missed. I mean, it's not exactly fair game when you're coming up behind someone and taking them in the back, but, you know, you just make sure I got everything. But, you know, this is a game, so nobody cares. It's like that one game, Whose Line It Is Anyway, where, guess what they're talking about, but the points don't matter. What's his name? His name is, it wasn't Dennis Leary. I think I learned that. You would think that after spending 3 years watching that, I'd know the guy, Drew Carey. There we go. His name is Drew Carey. I actually did like him as a actor, and also his stand-up skits are pretty damn good too. He's also on, I believe he also shared a spot with Bill Murray on SNL over the years. I knew it was a guest witness. What the heck? Excuse me, not guest witness. Guest star on so many comedy shows and skits, and I mean, the guy basically came up during the same the same level as Jay Leno and Craig Ferguson, because you know they're all famous actors technically. Because Craig Ferguson was in the Night of the Museum with oh good lord, I have a hard time remembering that guy. Robin Williams before he passed away. I still think Flubber and Mrs. Doubtfire and 2 others are my favorite movies. Good Morning Vietnam was a good one too. So, you know, boy, I tell you, I haven't been in this area in a while, so. Looks like it's almost daylight or daybreak. Do you think I could learn how to understand the difference between morning and night, or am I still that confused? So like I said, this area is pretty decent in comparison with all the other stuff, and I'll be the trucks, the container trucks or the transport trucks don't have anything really. Just a huge shit ton of sandbags. And for a while, I wasn't even aware this guy was in here until I looked a little closer. I'm like, oh, hey, free stuff. So, yeah. Oh, man. I gotta go double back for a second. And I do know there's a weapons crate somewhere in one of these fallen container trucks, but it's been a while since I've been in it. It's not this one. I know the campsite up here is loaded, but I'm not even going to chance it because it's just too much of a pain in the ass. First thing in the morning. And I know it's like, everybody's like, no, you gotta go for the campsite. You got it, man. It's got some really cool stuff. I'm like, well, yes, I know, because I've been there so many times. And it is cool. But, you know, everyone gets to pick and choose what they want to play with. Okay, it's not that one. Man, I thought for certain that one of these fallen container trucks had something. Yeah, I better not screw around. Normally there's not a whole lot of enemies during the day, but that could change in like 3 seconds flat. So you just gotta, you know, move your butt. I didn't realize they had cordless drills back in those days. Well, maybe the military did, because I think cordless drills started to come out during late 80s, early 90s. Here in the U.S. anyways. So, it's interesting how you can see all these old tools lying around. But the fact is, a lot of those you know, those walkie-talkies you see on the ground are actually still in use to some degree, even today, almost 40 years later. It's kind of scary when you think about it. Some of us are as old as dirt, and we can still remember what times were like back in those days, and a lot of you guys just weren't born yet, or you were born about 5 or 10 years after 1989. And you have no idea what life was like in the 70s or the 80s. But you will now. This game is actually kind of instructive and educational because it shows you an era that most of you don't even know about. You know, and you could also look everything up, you know, various things that you see in the game and think, okay, what the heck is this? Because a lot of kids about 10 or 15 years ago don't even know what a cassette player was, or a rotary phone. And the actress that played in the Bumblebee movie, she was born after, she wasn't even born when the cassette tapes, you know, Walkmans were in use. You know, the Walkman stereo systems, the portable, the battery powered. They had to teach her how to use one because she didn't even know what it was. And a lot of other stuff they had to teach her because, you know, she's not part of my generation. She's part of the, let's see, Gen X, or is it Gen Z, okay, Gen Z, Zoomer generation, and then, I can't remember how it went, but she's not, she's recent. Gen Z or Gen Alpha. Well, that actually technically, no, she's Gen Z. But Gen Alpha is already here, and Gen Beta is next, which is between 20. Let's see, what they say, 2025 and 2039 is Gen Beta. Now we don't know what's going to come after that. Boy, it feels. I feel like a dinosaur just talking about this stuff. Ugh, I can't even believe it's been 52 years almost. I've been on this miserable mud ball, and it just feels like time is just flying by so quickly. And you're like going, My brother turned 50 earlier this month. I said, so how's it feel to be 50? He goes, I'm one foot closer to the grave. I go, yeah, I know how you feel. So, you know, us middle-aged guys, we tend to have a really good sense of humor about things. So don't let it alarm you, because doesn't matter how old you get or how fast you get there. It's just having, you know, a good time with what type of life you're going to have for yourself. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be spectacular. It can always be average. It can be quiet. It can be breathtaking, stellar. You know, whatever it is you decide to choose to do with your life, you know, that's more important than worrying about, okay, am I going to hit 20 in 5 seconds flat, and you get there and like, what the hell just happened, you know? The age doesn't really matter, really. You're as old as you feel, okay? If you wake up feeling like you're an old man, you're 15 or 20, hey, just be lucky. Some of us don't have that luxury. Okay? Because I wake up with back pain every morning. And that's an actual real thing for older men like myself. You know, because, you know, sometimes you don't sleep in the right position, or your bed's too soft or too lumpy. Well, in this case, it's just, you know, it's part of getting older. You know, and it's nothing to be ashamed about. It's nothing to be worried about. As long as you're still mobile and you have some measure of independence and you can get around the house, go do run the errands, all kinds of fun stuff, then you'll be fine. And you won't have to worry about the little things, because, you know, sometimes being older, being an old man, is kind of a blessing in itself. You know, just gotta take one day at a time and enjoy everything to the best of your ability. You know, that's all we can all do. And so, you know, just treasure what you have in front of you, and just, you know, accept everything that comes with it. You know, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to think that you are a failure. You know, because everybody fails in life. There's no exception. You know, we're not perfect. We're always going to screw up. We're always going to do this and that. You know. But as long as you keep trying, you don't give up so easily. I mean, it's okay to quit. It's okay to give up after a while if you're not making much progress. But, you know, you can always do the things you want to do, and then come back to the things you want to do later later on, and it'll still be there when you get back. You know, you don't have to worry about, you know, impressing people or trying to, you know, ace it the first time around. Because sometimes you do get lucky, most times you won't. I wouldn't take it personally, because, you know, for some of us it's a learning experience. You know, others have a natural ability, some have the experience and knowledge, you know, some have the connections and the inside track. But for the majority of us, we're just, you know, we're just learning as we go. You know, either gaming or life in general, or at your job, at school, at college, you know, doing whatever you want to do in your life. It's always important to remember that you're a human, you're not a robot. You don't have to worry about perfection, because perfection stinks. Okay, I should know. I've made a career out of failing, and also a career out of being patient. Because I can watch the world go by and everyone else is running like they're a rabbit on steroids, or the energetic are bunny from hell. And, you know, but some of us like to take the slow route, the scenic route, and just enjoy life. And that's important because, you know, sometimes you just have to stop and smell the flowers every so often. You know, take a moment out of your chaotic life and just enjoy things for a moment, just to remind yourself that the world's still here and you're still here, and you can just do the best you can. Just have a moment of peace to yourself. You know, it's not always about what you can accomplish and what you need to do. It's just, you know, the little things we always overlook or neglect. So, you know, it's not a big loss if we miss something or we just forget something, or, you know, it's not always the one thing we're always after. Because sometimes when we get to the far end of our agenda or goal, what we ever were after originally isn't always what we end up with in the end. But if it's close enough, you're basically good. You know, you tried your best, you did the work, you put in the hours, you held the line, and you just made the best of a situation, whether bad, serious, or just, you know. And that's all you can do is keep trying, keep believing in yourself, have faith in yourself. You know, don't worry about what other people think. Because if you start doubting yourself, then, you know, it's just not going to make things easier for you. And I mean, it's okay to doubt yourself. Everybody does it, but just try to make a habit of it. Because you have to have confidence and courage to get through life. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be hell on earth for a lot of us. That's what it is. You know, this world's gotten more dark and ugly. But we still have each other. You know, we're not like strangers or competitors or opponents. We're all part of the human race. You know, we just have to remind ourselves that we're all in this together, whether we are separated by cultural, religious, or ideological or political lines. You know, we're still part of the human race. You know, we still have to remind ourselves of that from time to time, even if it's easy to get sucked into the echo chambers of whatever world that we're part of. But we always have to remember that outside of that, we're still, you know, all in this together as one. Even if we don't agree with everything and everybody, you know, we still have to try. We can't just simply give up. Even if it does look like that's the way it's going to go. You know, with some people, they can't be reached, they can't be consoled, they can't be reconciled with. Those people are lost cause. But the ones you can reach, the ones you can try to compromise with and communicate with, you might have a better chance. But outside of that, you know, just focus on what you need to do in life. Focus on the things that make you happy, make others happy, and make yourselves happy. And also involve everyone that you care about and you love into your circle. You know, engage them on the things that you like. Have them do the same in return. Just be part of one big social, you know, community. And I know it's getting harder because we're plugged into our iPhones and our video games and everything. But, you know, just once in a while, just step outside and take a moment to look around. You know, if it's a sunny day, you're not doing much, just go outside and have about an hour out there in the warm weather, the hot weather, the summer breeze blowing through. But right now it's fall for most of us. And so the days are getting shorter, it's getting colder up here, but there's still some nice sun breaks every now and then. And when it rains or snows, that's pretty much where you want to be. You want to look out there and just see the world as it changes and reinvigorates itself and washes itself clean for the next day. You know, because you don't know when it's going to change in a heartbeat. And as winter is approaching, guys, remember to take things easy and to prepare yourselves for any possible, you know, situations or emergencies. I mean, stock up on emergency supplies. Make sure you've got plenty of de-icer, bags of de-icer, salt. If you have canisters of table salt, like the Morton's table salt, that'll also work. Cat litter also works too. as a gradient on icy sidewalks, so you'll gain some traction that way. So if you got bags of cat litter, you don't have de-icer, just throw the cat litter out on the steps, also on your walkway, and just go out as far as you can, and then just go about your business. But just be careful. Especially for those of us who are elderly or have health issues or mobility problems, just watch out for them the best you can. And also keep an emergency plan in place in case the power goes out during the winter. Make sure that you have adequate supplies on hand, a possible portable power bank or generator, not the one that you have to plug in outside and turn the stupid thing on, because you can't run those things indoors, otherwise you'll die from carbon monoxide poisoning, and you might actually set a fire too. But just there's portable solar generators you can set up and generate power that way. But just prepare yourselves ahead of time, and also get heaters, portable heaters, because your power bill is going to go crazy this year for many of us. So if you have some portable heaters, it'll help in the long run. It'll cut your electric bill down by a little bit. In a little bit will help. So just keep that in mind as well. Always dress for the worst kind of weather. Warm weather clothes, even if things are expensive because of the tariff situation, you're still going to have to get bundled up for the winter. Extra socks, extra shoes, wool socks, long johns, which I haven't worn since I was 10, but I'm getting some on order next month. So just prepare yourself. And it's a good idea to keep yourself prepped in case of any situation, regardless of the season or the weather. Natural disasters is one good example, not just snowstorms, but also earthquakes, hurricanes, typhoons, blackouts. Let's see, tidal waves. Gonna need a surfboard for that one. But just generally, just keep yourself prepared in case of emergency. Always keep an emergency medical kit available at all times. You can find those on Amazon really easily. Store water. Buy extra water, like the crystal clear, the Crystal Cascade water, the Dasani, the generic stuff you can find at the Dollar Tree or the Dollar General, or one of those discount stores like Grocery Outlet, for example, and just get as much as you can. Stock up on matches, stock up on candles, blankets, pillows, firewood if you have a actual functional fireplace, and newspaper or scrap paper. But just remember to exercise common sense and safety when it comes to starting a furnace fire. Well, you know what I'm talking about. My brain's frying again already. So anyway, just keep it in mind. Finally, I'm just getting this thing unloaded. And yes, I'm 14 pounds away from reaching my maximum. Well, 13 now, because once this sniper scope goes in my box, it'll drop it down. So let's see, what do I got? 213 and down to 11. Alright. I haven't been in one area for too long. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. A shot like that to the leg would destroy the leg. It really doesn't. It's kind of interesting. I mean, that kind of a contact blast would shred a metal leg to pieces, even if it's reinforced like this thing. think that kind of damage would at least shear off part of the leg or cripple it enough to couldn't move and you could just take it out. But apparently it's, you know, the devs actually got the machines constructed in a completely different setup. So it's, I gotta go away from it for a second. I gotta check to make sure. Let me guess, he's gonna call them reinforcements. Technically, the harvester can take on the small fry, and I can go for like that. That looks like it's gonna call in reinforcements. I'll call in some hunters. Crappy shot right now. And everything works out to the best of my ability. Ain't that a kick in the pants? Yes, I know something's probably on my 6 too. Because obviously the music hasn't changed much. I don't see anything over here. I left my butt off. The enemy actually, you know, I got bounced off into the stratosphere and ended up somewhere else. You know, because sometimes that happens. The enemy ends up doing a moonwalk maneuver in midair and just blows itself halfway across the galaxy. Ends up in Nowhere Squared in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And it's like, hey, where'd this guy come from? Okay, I hear something in the background. It's over here. Let's see. Okay, so there's those guys. I'm not really worried about them. Yeah, they can beat on each other for a few minutes. I'm just gonna make sure I've got okay, ammunition. Yeah, I can hear the tanks and everything. Yeah, and I can hear a Firebird too. $10 he says it's over in the raid over there. And it's not a scout class either. Yeah, I see him. I'm making sure I got everything. I don't want to double back and track any of the heavy hitters. Not that it would matter to me, but I see them. They're all firing in one direction. And that's, oh god, am I brain fried again or what? It's the camouflage one, military class. It's military class. Holy Christ. I better bring up the doggo for this one. This is gonna get ugly. I got so many. Jeez Louises. That's what I'm telling you, man. Sometimes you come across a real hornet nest and it's like, hello. And that's not the only thing I don't know about. Over there. Oh, wait. I'm going to tell you about some hunters. They're just chewing my ass. That was the... I just barely bagged and tagged it. Boy, I got. Hey, I know there's something in this tree line over here. It's fired. Oh, I see it. See, when you got that many hunters, so you got the Firebird and 3 harvesters, you think, okay, which one's the worst of the threat? It'd be the hunters. You always want to take out the small fry first, because you can weather the harvesters unless they decide, hey, I'm going to go ahead and spawn more reinforcements. Then you're SOL on that front. Not restart the game, but I gotta finish this session and restart the next one because I've already used up my 4. Actually, I don't think I have. Yeah, I have, because I didn't start a new session. I actually continued on, so I gotta save and restart the game and pick up where I left off. The only thing that's good about this game is that every new session you start, there's always new enemies, you know, stuff like that. Alright, well, it's just an average session. I'm going to get a couple things done. I'll come back and start a new one. So just remember to save after each game session. Play your hearts out. I hope this broadcast has been educational, inspirational, terrifying, painful to watch, and exciting. And I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Alright, have a great one.